come to our seat. We'll sit up nice and tall. You don't have to sit like me, just however is comfortable for you. You can rest your hands on your thighs, roll your shoulders up, let them slide down the back, and just start to settle in here. Breath in, breath out. Just kind of get a sense of how the breath is feeling today, and in particular with spring season, if it's harder to breathe out through the nose, give yourself permission to take some air in and out through the mouth as well as the nose. So try not to add any extra anxiety around the breath, right? Just let it be fluid and to the best of your ability, breathe deep and slow. A couple more breaths here to settle in. I'll just start off by circling out the neck. Just choose one direction to draw those circles in. Keep it slow. And, pay attention to your neck and your shoulders. If it means you're drawing a smaller circle, great. If that means you're drawing a bigger circle, great. So just allow your range of motion to be what it is today. Try not to become attached to any preconceived notion about what that means about you and your ability to practice yoga. It's all a practice. One more time in this direction. And we'll come back through center, big breath in to grow tall. And then on your breath out, start to take the head in the opposite direction. Doesn't matter which side you did first or which direction you led with, because we're doing both sides. We're balancing the body. All right, so just one more shape that has some dynamic fluid movement to it, and then we'll settle into our still postures. So we'll take the legs out to like a V shape. Doesn't matter how wide your legs go. And you can always keep your knees bent. You can prop something underneath the backs of the knees, like pillows or blocks or, folded towels. Let's cross the arms across the chest, and we'll just start to draw a bigger circle. So now with the whole torso and the head, let it be heavy. You're choosing one direction to go in. Getting the whole torso involved, and start to feel sensation around the lower part of the spine. In particular, you might feel this in the low back, quadratus lumbar, maybe even around the hip joints, maybe even into the hamstrings. Just kind of depends on where the tissues feel tightest for you. One more circle in this first direction. And then we'll sit back up. Let's switch up just for fun, crossing opposite forearm in front, and then head in the opposite direction. So as you move and circle around, can you stay connected to your breath? Let's draw one more big full circle all the way around. Sit up nice and tall. Okay, so we're gonna come into a forward fold for our first hold. And I'll give you the option of, this is where your chair might come in handy. I'll show you what I mean by using that. But depending on your knees and your hip joints, you might stack one ankle on top of the opposite knee. Now I have my right leg on top first, and we're gonna do both sides. So maybe in this stacked position, you're starting with the right on top. It's okay if that's too much. If that's not gonna be sustainable, you just let it be an easy cross-legged seat. So right shin maybe is in front of the left shin. And then we're gonna start to forward fold into this. So this is where you can use this little shelf-like prop. You can relax your elbows down there. Let your forehead rest. So you're bringing the floor up to meet you instead of forcing the body into something that's just maybe not ready for. And if that shelf of the chair is just too high, like you might be feeling a little bit more limber today, you can play with other props, pillows, blocks, whatever, to fold a little bit deeper if that feels appropriate. So try your best to let this be soft. I'm going to set us a timer here. Be on each side for 3 minutes. So as you fold into this, the body might start to open up. So even allowing yourself to remove props if you start to feel like you're able to fold forward. And again, that's not a requirement. It doesn't mean anything about you or your ability to practice yoga. It's just something that may or may not happen, right? And the reverse can be true. You can realize that you've gone too far into your fold and you might want to add props underneath you. You keep your arms soft, relaxed, shoulders heavy, nice long neck. Notice if you're holding any tension in the muscles of the face, in particular the jaw. Imagine just softening and releasing with each exhalation. Let's take 3 breath cycles. And then slowly start to come back up to an upright seat. And then we'll check out the second side. So uncross your legs. If you need to stretch your legs out and kind of shake out the legs, get a little bit of blood flow going, it's helpful, I think, to just move the hands around the joints of the knees. That that does also stimulate blood flow and circulation to the joints. A little self-massage. When you're ready, you can rebend the knees. You can take that easy cross-legged seat. This time, if you did the right leg first, your left shin would be in front, or the left shin or leg would be on top. Right, so check that out for yourself. Doesn't need to look like me. Just pay attention to what's going on in your body. And then see about forward folding any amount. Here is fine. Again, remember you can use your chair like a little shelf there. Maybe you try that for the first few breaths and allow the body to open up naturally on its own without force. Again, just checking in with the tension in the body. So what happens if you're really tight, like in the hips or the low back, and there's a lot of tension there, we tend to kick ourselves out of that, and it's easier to let the tension rise up into shoulders, neck, jaw, muscles of the face. Just noticing if that's happening for you. Start to bring your awareness back down to the lower trunk. And see if you can come back to the breath. And that's just a practice that you will do over and over again as many times as it takes. It's not like a destination you're going to suddenly arrive to one day and stay there. All right, it's just a continuing practice. We'll start to uncurl out of this. That was 3 minutes on our second side. And then we're going to head into a specific child's pose. And hopefully y'all didn't eat lunch right before this, because it is very compressive of the abdomen with the purpose of, so we talked about the vata dosha and the kapha dosha, that electric dry, that wet heavy. How do we balance those two? By having a strong digestive system, and that is our digestive fire. It's Agni. Agni is the Sanskrit word for fire. So anything that stimulates digestive system and strengthens the core is going to be balancing in our spring season. Okay, so in this version of child's pose, the legs are fairly close together, like my inner thighs are touching. As long as that's comfortable on the knees, you can always support the knees by taking a blanket or even a pillow underneath the backs of the knees. And then if you know that forward folding into child's pose, your forehead's usually further away from the mat, take a prop, like maybe it's a block or it's a pillow, it's a folded towel. Something so that your forehead gets to relax onto instead of just hanging out in space. Hands, you're going to make them into a fist, and then the fists are going to rest right at those frontal hip points. And then we're going to curl into this, so it can be really quite intense at first. Because again, we're compressing the abdomen here. We're compressing and stimulating the ascending and descending colon. So helpful to keep a strong digestive system. Let your elbows be wide and your upper arm bones be heavy. We won't be here for too long. So this is, if this is too much for you, back out. Make sure that you're able to breathe. But if you can stay with it, let's take about 3 to 5 more breath cycles here. One last breath. And slowly uncurl, back out. You can move your props off to the side. For our next shape, we're going to elevate our feet. So you can use the edge of the chair, or you can take your legs up the wall. And maybe my cat will share my chair with me. Let's see. Oh, all right. So if you're taking your legs over the chair, I'd like your knees to be in contact with the edge of that chair, so you get that sympathetic nervous system response. I'll give you one option here, because we're going to start to work a little bit more with the shoulders. If you want it to be a little bit more intense, take a blanket or a towel into a wide shape, roll it up. Now this might be quite intense, so just be prepared to back out or take the blanket away if it's too much, okay? That's gonna go like right about where the shoulder blades will rest. A little bit of myofascial stimulation there. So then you're gonna probably have to adjust this as you lay back. All of our torsos are kind of different lengths. If you're taking legs up the wall, see if you can get your sits bones fairly close. And then if you're using this blanket roll, you want your armpits above the roll of the blanket. Right, so there's a little bit of opening through the chest and elevation through the heart. Just start off by taking your elbows out wide to the sides and see if you can relax here. And if you cannot relax, if you're still clenching your jaw, if this is just too hard to breathe into with the blanket roll, get rid of it, come back to your back. So we'll add a little bit of movement here with the arms, kind of like you're making a snow angel. Stretch the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, you can bend the elbows to the sides. And we'll do that a few times. So reach the arms up and overhead, biceps frame the ears. Exhale, elbows wide. Continue with your breath. Check in with your neck. Notice that the chin's not jutting up towards the ceiling. The neck is fairly neutral. And then just pause here, elbows wide, a few breaths. Add on, I'll give you the option to add on for the shoulders, for the upper body. So We'll stretch the arms up towards the ceiling. Palms will face one another. And then you're going to cross your right elbow in front of your left elbow here. And then you can just bend your elbows, grab your opposite shoulders. It's like you're giving yourself a hug. I like to let my right bicep just kind of hover over my mouth. Let my shoulder blades be really heavy. And start to settle in. We'll take 1 minute on each side with this. Set us a timer. Deep belly breaths here. See if you can start to take a little bit longer on your exhale. So maybe even count your breath. You might just see how long it takes you to take a full breath in. You find your natural full breath. It might be like a count of 4 or 5. And then see on your exhale if you can drag that out 1 or 2 more counts. So like for example, if your inhale was 4 counts, maybe your exhale is 5 or 6 counts. Try that one more time. Okay, now we're going to open this up a little bit. So instead of your elbows being like pointing up towards the ceiling, you're just going to grab your opposite elbows and it's like you're making this box shape in front of your chest. And you'll start to take your elbows off to the left across your chest and then off to the right across your chest. Just moving side to side, lateral with the elbows. If what I'm saying isn't making sense, just take a peek at me. You can see what I'm doing. One more time in each direction. Good, and then we'll come back through center, elbows wide. Relax your upper body, find stillness for a few breaths here. We'll move to our second side. So once more, we'll stretch the arms up towards the ceiling. Your fingertips are like reaching for your ceiling and your palms are facing one another. Let your left elbow cross in front of your right elbow. And then grab your opposite shoulders, elbows pointing up towards the ceiling. That left bicep might start to shift over the mouth. The arms be really heavy here. I'll set us a timer for 1 minute. Deep, full belly breaths. You might try that counting of the inhale and see if you can elongate that for the exhale. Try it twice. So maybe that inhale is 4 or 5 counts, the exhale is 5 or 6 counts. Then we'll draw the elbows a little bit wider, make that square shape across your chest. You're just holding onto your opposite elbows. And start to drag forearms, elbows across the chest to the left. Back through center, drag the elbows across the chest towards the right. And usually there's one side that feels just a little bit more tender than the other. One more time to each side. Then release the arms, elbows wide, pause, breathe in, breathe out. So if you still have that rolled up blanket or towel underneath the upper back, I'd like you to get rid of that. You can roll off to the side, move it out of the way, and then come back onto your back. We're going to set up for our Shavasana now. You can stick with your legs at the wall or calves draped over the edge of that chair for Shavasana. Be here for about a minute. Feel free to add any extra props or just simply lengthen out on your back if you want a more traditional corpse pose. Slightly tilt the chin in towards the chest, move the shoulders down the back. Take a big breath in through the nose. And then open the mouth and exhale the air out. Settle in here. If you found that counting the breath helpful, you can continue that for a few more rounds in your Shavasana. If you have more time to spare in your day, please stay as long as you can. If you need to move on, just slowly awaken through fingertips and toes. Move your head side to side. Breath in, sweep the arms up and overhead. And then on your breath out, rolling off to a side, knees bent, fetal position. Pressing into your hand, rising up to a comfortable seat. Left palm flat against the heart, and then right hand on the belly. We're joining these parts of the body, the heart, the belly. Making that connection, finding that balance. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And bowing the chin to the chest, just take a moment to acknowledge your practice, honor your effort. May you remember that you will always be okay. May you find a white light that guides you and keeps you safe. May you have hope, help, and happiness. Namaste, yogis. Okay, everyone.